Hello students, welcome to week 6. This week we are going to be covering shell scripting, and it's a very important topic, and it leads to the final project that you will be doing for this course. As you know, shell scripting is greatly valued amongst the Linux community because it gives flexibility in creating applications of all kinds, and it allows users of Linux to have access to the more complex commands that Linux programmers would create for them. So we can use scripts to create and maintain data files for tracking projects. We can use it for system maintenance, like monitoring who's logged on and backing up files, and a whole ton of stuff. So what we're going to do in this video is just do a demonstration that hopefully will be helpful for you to create your final project. So towards that end, I will assume that you have read the topics on shell variables and and also a little bit about the need for script files. And I will show you on my desktop a script file that I have created. So I have called it Screen Manager, and I'm going to do Screen Manager right here. Now I'd just like to go over what is the purpose of the Screen Manager. As the name suggests, this is supposed to be a very elementary file that allows users to create a menu-driven program, right? So the commands in this file, in the script file, the very simple commands would allow us to control our cursor and position the cursor on any particular area in the screen, and then also for us to be able to input information at that point, and for that information to be read into a variable. So the commands are very simple, but they allow some very powerful menu-based, if you wish, kind of GUI-based programming, right? So the command, the Linux command, is tput. The two commands that we are going to be using are tput, which allows us to position the cursor, and also echo, which echoes the value on the screen of the variables that we are using. Now, one thing I'd like to point out is that in Unix, I'm just going to use my pen here for a minute and say uh, the screen starts, the coordinate starts from the top left position. So this position is the 0, 0 position, right? So this is going to be 0, 0. And if we say tput cursor position 0, 0, here's where our cursor is going to blink, right? So let's start dissecting what's inside our screen manager. The first command is tput clear, which is a command to clear the screen. The second command is creating a variable called bold, right, which is set to tput SMSO. What this variable does is it sets the standard screen mode to bold. And when we run this program, you will see what actually happens. Off bold is the opposite, to turn it off. Echo, it actually echoes on the screen the value of the variable, which means it will turn bold on. Tput, which is which positions the cursor at 1020. Now from here, from the position 0, 0, we're going to count down, and 1020 is row number 10, column number 20. So possibly we're going to position our cursor somewhere here. And tput 1220 is positioning the cursor at 2 lines lower than that. What is the cursor going to do when it gets positioned there? The first time we position it at 1020, it echoes, so it writes onto the screen, type first name, and in the second position it's going to say type last name. So it's prompting the user to enter some values there, and then it turns off the bold. Now the cursor is again repositioned to the places where the user is expected to enter the value. So read in the first name into a variable called first name, and then read in the last name. So I have put all of these commands into into a script file, and I've called that script file Screen Manager. If I would like to run this file, then what I would need to do is I would need to do sh Screen Manager, and all of these commands are going to get executed. So as you can see, my cursor has went to position 1020 and wrote in bold, type first name, went to position 1220, wrote type last name, and then it went to the position 1041. So it moved from 1020 to 1041 to give space for this prompt. And then now I can enter my name here, and and the next line it has actually positioned itself to 1241. So now I enter my last name right here, and then it comes out of here. So this is a good way for you to get an idea of how to do the programming for the phone menu program that you will be writing as part of your final project. Thank you.